You've created five questions that every wealth holder should ask. Are you an Are you able to tell me about them? Are you able to tell me about what those questions might be?
Let's think about ourselves. We don't wake up in the morning and think about how am I going to pay less taxes today?
No, we
That's
don't.
not that's not the human nature. So when you're asking somebody to plan for their own life and what will remain after them, starting out with the assumption that their primary incentive is to reduce taxes, I don't think it makes sense. I mean, maybe they don't realize it, but that doesn't make sense. So we again come back to first thing you ask is what is purpose? I mean, when you ask the person, what is your purpose in wanting to do planning or preservation or create legacy? It sounds very philosophical, but it's actually a very precise question. Because if your purpose is for a lot of first generation wealth, their purpose is to never have the future generation go through the hardship of going from nothing to wealth as they did. Don't go down the same journey. So it is protection overall. So that then it becomes okay, I want intergenerational legacy. Now we go to the second tier of purpose, which is, but your kids are born into wealth and they will make more. Your risk of actually them losing it all is much lower than them making more. They're probably going to make a lot more. What is the message you want to give to them? Do you want them to save it all? Do you want them to put it in certain types of things? Do you want them to help people? Do you want them to help animals? Why do you want them to have the money? That's, the why, right? And that sort of gives you a framework, the beginning of the framework of, am I designing for a family that's going to be known as the future philanthropic family, the future publishing family, the future real estate family? That's all identities. This is the definition of identity. For single family offices with multi-generational wealth, until recently, where a lot more opportunities and completely novel types of investments are possible, their family purpose was already set. Seventh generation doesn't agree. So how do we prevent that from occurring? That also comes back to understanding. So you understand the purpose and you understand what the initial initiative is for that person to do wealth planning. Then you look at what you consider your structure, whether it is your wealth is through your various business ownerships, investments, philanthropy, private foundations, uh, maybe very informal schemes, maybe it is very, informal giving or informally mentoring, whatever it is. Does that structure reflect accurately how your wealth will sustain itself? And I don't mean wealth in terms of asset value, wealth as in the entire value of a person and a family legacy, which is what your beliefs are, what your values are, everything else, knowledge, education. Do you want it to be that for for the foreseeable future or future generations, you want education to be a primary aspect? Or is it the opposite, that you want them to have actual skills that they can actually build something? I mean, all of those you can factor into planning. So you're building a structure that's governance structure that doesn't frustrate the purpose over the generations, but rather furthers it. We have I've had clients who are very creative in the fine arts, and they said that the business dies with them because none of the children were interested in the arts. So I went in and said, no, if we get out from the field of law and we go into the business sector and we create a knowledge management system, we can build a system by which your company strives and we can determine intellectual property that can be protected. So, three generations down, when somebody picks up that art gene from you, your enterprise is still there for them to go back and put their value into. But for the next three generations, your kids and grandkids and great grandkids are going to continue to benefit from the wealth that your business has built. And because it'll continue to grow and prosper under the knowledge that you have created, but you have no structure and you have not put it into a scalable framework for it to last. So that became something that was IP protection and legacy. The third part is obviously strategy, which is what are the specific actions and governance models or partnerships that really illuminate your purpose. And one of the things is going back to something I said. Any type of trust means that you have to give up control. It doesn't matter what the rules say or how it is drafted, there is some sense of giving up control. It may be minimal in certain instances. Some people do not want to do that. So is that the right strategy? Some people are willing. So it's an offset, right? So I mean, when I do offshore, it's one of the things that they'll automatically say, now it's called NIIT, but what used to be called the GILTI tax. Oh, you must avoid guilty at all costs. I would do a computational variation. I said, you can pay guilty of this much, but because of the foreign credit offset, it's actually only this much. So you're paying 6%, but you still get to protect your assets offshore. So you decide, is that worthwhile to you? For some it is, for some it's not. But again, it gives them options. So strategy has to be attuned to the purpose and the structure. And then innovation is where you start looking at what is available to you, what is being presented to you, and what you wish you had, which is, you know, if I this is where you say that if I could look into a crystal ball, I wish we had a tool that could do this, or my I wish my legacy would be defined by somebody who, well, let's take something that's dear to heart here. I would like the future to be where the tool that I have clients who have done AI in healthcare, but not in this specific sector. It would be great that the AI tools and the AI knowledge that we have imparted can one day make it so that cardiac arrest no longer exists. Now we can make a pathway in planning, in private foundation, where what it encompasses is not just the development of technology or supporting entrepreneurs, but maybe it is aligned towards certain healthcare initiatives that go that way, and there are partnerships and sponsorships possible. So we're bringing everything together, and it's about, what is legacy really made of? And legacy is basically ensuring sustainability. Legacy is not about what you do today, but rather the question is, if you just froze in time, whatever it is, whether you passed away or whether you decided to retire or you decided to go somewhere, would your purpose and strategy and structure stay intact? Would that framework and the whole house that you have built, can it continue to last despite you not being there? And that's legacy. So, one of the common things that people say is like, oh, this is all done by the letter of intent that a lot of estate planners sort of consider, advise their clients to do. I go back to take the last 100 years, talk about our own history. What your grandfather or my grandfather would have written about a letter of intent, I'm sure today, sitting in modern America, we would probably be a little bit enraged by the values and the things that they put forward as being what they really considered. So the letter of intent may actually, without a framework like this, the letter of intent standing alone as this is what I want my legacy to be and these are what my values are, third, fourth, fifth, seven generations down, those kids may say that we have absolutely no desire to further the purpose of what they wanted. The truth is, if you actually go and do a deep dive and structure it this way, there might be a situation where they have developed something that, in all seeming ways in today's world, might seem absolutely atrocious or discriminatory or whatever it is, everything that's against what we stand for today. And when you look at why they did it and what they actually believe, not what they believed, but how they implemented what their goal was, you find that there's a space even today that it fits into. So that's you can't do that with a simple letter. You have to do it with an entire governance structure. It's like, and that's, those five questions, which is, I think, as a purpose, structure, strategy, innovation, and legacy. It's like each of those, delving into those.
Priya, this is really, really interesting to me as you help just expand on what legacy really means and how we can build legacy even for the the traditional client. You don't have to be an ultra high net worth client to be concerned about these kinds of things. Legacy is important to all of us as we age, as we grow older, as we think about our place in time, our place on this planet.